Hello YouTube, it's me. I know it's been a minute since I've been here. I actually did like a really long video today. I don't know if I'll share it or not, because I feel like it's probably all over the place, and I also feel like it's not like the most positive thing ever, but it's okay. And I don't even know if I made a point. I may watch it back. I may just delete it without watching it back, or I might post it without watching it back. We're having a tiny snack of nuts. It might be a little too late to be doing this, but I've been trying to watch my diet. I didn't eat the best tonight because my grandma had a chiropractor appointment. And I had dinner at her house and she picked up McDonald's. Not the most healthy, but I also worked my butt off today. No lie. So much work. And so I just wanted to get a little bit more protein in, because I physically worked very hard today and I sweat a lot and I just feel a little depleted. Like, I don't know, I just felt like maybe some almonds might help me. So what this video is really about, honestly, we'll see if it comes full circle to be more one than the other, but what this video really honestly is about is my grandma. I've talked about the importance of family on this channel. I have talked about the closeness of my family. I've probably touched on my husband's family. I've talked about my parents, my grandparents, you know, and just like our dynamics and being close. I always look at it as like this amazing blessing. But I really want to do a video talking about my grandma. Honestly, not to be gross or gruesome, but while she's still here. Truly, I don't want to hang on anything negative. In this video, my grandma is not a young woman, although she's doing so well and like remarkable for her age and what she's been through. I don't know. I think I've talked in the past on this channel about her having had stage 4 cancer. It was bad. She should just, on paper, she should not be here. She's an absolute miracle from God. That alone should be able to stand on its own in knowing that prayer works, because just on paper, she shouldn't be here. And I want to do this video while she's here because, I mean, today is just all the more reason to do a video talking about my grandma, and I will come to that. But I've always been super close to my grandma, and I do go days without seeing her, and that's true. I try to talk to her on the phone every day, but I'll go days without seeing her. Sometimes I go a whole week. I just went longer than a week because my daughter had hand, foot, and mouth, and so I didn't want to go around anybody or take any sickness to anybody, so we were really kind of on our own, except for my mom helped me a lot. But we gave like that time period, so like it's been like maybe 2 weeks or something. That's usually the only time I go that long without seeing my grandma, and she doesn't like that, and I understand that, but I don't want to make her sick, you know. I just don't, even if it's just a little cold, I really just don't want to do that. So, but I hope she never feels taken for granted by me. I try personally to never take her or any of my family for granted, and that's true. I think we're all guilty of it sometimes, but I've always known the value that I have in my grandma. I do. And I have 2 amazing grandmas, and so like the thing of it is like I'm doing this video and it seems, first of all, like I'm a floating head, and I understand that. I am wearing a black, look at my shirt, take it in, love it. And then I have like my hair kind of matches my blinds. Like I'm kind of, and I am just like beat up. Yeah, listen, I've been busy. But I don't want it to seem like, oh, I care about one grandma, not the other. That's not the case. It is not the case. I love both my grandmas very much. The truth of the matter is that on my dad's side of the family, my grandma had just like a slew of grandkids. And I'm not saying that I wasn't important to her and she wasn't important to me. That is not the case at all. That is not the case at all. It just, like when I was little, my dad's mom worked. My mom's mom, I will get to this, she didn't have a job, but she was very busy. But she didn't have like a job that she had to be at. So like she watched me, which is very similar to what I have going on with my kids. My mother-in-law also watches my kids, but I'm very fortunate in that my mom works like part-time. And so like she's available, but I also try to bring my mother-in-law into that scenario. Like it's a whole thing. But between distance from our home to the grandmother's homes and also like the working the job aspect of things, I just saw my mom's mom more often, right? And so like I have two amazing grandmas, like totally not trying to overshadow one over the other, but today was really no different than any other day in dealing with my grandma. But it just was laid on my heart to do a video about this now, today, as I'm in this moment talking about this. And I've thought, since I've lost my grandpa, I don't want to be morbid. I'm going to go here for just a minute and then we're going to move on. But since I've lost my grandpa, I've often thought about the day that I do lose my grandma, and I have given everybody as much warning as I can. I've let everyone know that I will be completely useless. I'll probably be in bed. I don't know exactly how I will respond or how I will react outside of completely falling apart. I have let my husband know that I will absolutely need him to take over with the kids. The kids will also be a wreck because they love my grandma. And like my mom is going to spin out of control. Like we're all going to spin out of control. That's what's going to happen. I have plainly put it out there. When my grandpa passed away, it was very odd because I've been to a lot of funerals, of people that I love, like very much, very much. And I don't know if it's because of my age. I don't know if it's everything that we went through about everything. I don't know what it was exactly, or if it really was just like the closeness level. But I really, really struggled with going up to the casket. Some people need that for closure. I don't know if I'm one of those people. I really had a hard time with it. And then once I did like what I had to do, like I had to, go through and go up. This was for like the layout aspect of it. I immediately went into action. It's how I deal with things. And I noticed that my grandma still had her coat on. I was like crying, but I noticed that my grandma still had her coat on. So I went into action and I took my grandma's coat, taking care of her. I went and I found a place to put the coat, and then I could not leave the back of the room. I had to be in literally the farthest back corner that I possibly could, where I could barely even see the casket. Based off of that experience, I told my mom I don't even know if I can go in the funeral home when something happens to my grandma, and that made her mad. That made her very upset, and I don't want her to feel like she would have to go through anything alone, and that's true, but I was like, I'm just letting you know, like, I just really don't know that I'll be able to do it. I'm just letting you know. But I guess we have to do hard things. Man, I don't know. Anyway. So, I'm just talking about it just to put it out here. But one thing that I do know is, because sometime I'll look back on this video in hindsight, and I'm sure I'll have lots of feelings. I don't know. But I've thought about that day a lot. And I've thought I kind of would like to write the eulogy. I don't know. But I wouldn't be able to read it. I don't think I would be able to read it. And then I feel guilty about that. Like, as a Christian, sometimes I feel guilty about that. But truly, because I think about this, my grandma has 5 grandkids and 3 step grandkids. And I had a really unique position in life with my grandma. Not saying it's exclusive. Not saying that other people didn't also have unique experiences with her. Not saying that at all. But in terms of like the grandkid perspective, I did have a unique position because she was able to watch me. My aunt and uncle did other things for babysitter, like, needs or whatever. And so my grandma, I'm not saying my grandma never watched them. She definitely did. She just watched me more. And our life involvements were different. Where we were kind of more involved in like similar things. So I remember whenever I was little, there was a church that my grandma actually helped start. And I even remember going to her singings. Like, there was always these singings. And then later I found out that all these singings that she was having, because she was always a part of a gospel, some sort of gospel band affiliation, like something. And I think it was just singers that got together and they put on a singing at this church, and they would take up like offerings, and the offerings would go towards a building. And that building is standing today, which is amazing. So she helped with that. It's just really cool. And I remember she cleaned the church and stuff, and I would go with her to help her clean I didn't help her clean the church. I was really little. I didn't help her do anything, but I would go with her. But I remember going to church with her, and she was the Sunday school teacher also for the kids. Oh no, there's a nut in my throat. Anyway, like, I thought that was the coolest thing. And I got to be like in the class, and I was just like, she was so good at it. Like, she was just so good at it. My grandma thinks she's good at nothing. My grandma is good at everything. Like, if you just give her a minute, like, give her a few instructions and give her a minute, she'll be better at everybody at that thing. But she thinks she's bad at everything. And her gifts are just like never ending. It's amazing to watch. And so I had that experience. I sat in her Sunday school class, and like, she was so good at it. Okay, so then fast forward, I started a private school. I started going to a private school. If you went to the church, your tuition was free. If your parent or a family member taught at the school, then you got your books for free. So my grandma, I don't know how many years I went to that school, a couple years. And then somehow or another, conversations happened, and I don't know what all happened. And my grandma was just always for free labor. And what it is she's here to serve God. That's what it is. And so the way she was always in gospel groups, going and traveling around and singing for different fundraiser things, or, you know, whatever. She was in something called Lamb. maybe that was called Leesburg Area Ministerial Alliance. But anyway, they would help feed people. What all was she in just when I was little? She volunteered for stuff at her church all the time, Sunday school teacher. I mean, just you name it. If there was a job working for God and not getting paid, my grandma did it. Didn't matter. I mean, just do it all. Do it all. It's just always how she was. And so anyway, somehow it came about. I was little. I don't even know how it came about that she was going to come up and teach at my school. And the way my school was, in the beginning, I think eventually kindergarten and first grade went into one, but it was kindergarten, and then you had first grade, and then you had the big learning center where everybody else was in one room. So I always say I went to a one-room school because I kind of did. And it was divided up in middle learning center and upper learning center. So on one side of the school, or this room, was 2nd through 6th grade, and the other side of the school was 7th through 12th grade. And that's just how it was, you know. And so my grandma came in, and at first she taught kindergarten, and then she moved to first grade. And then I think eventually they just like melded the two together somehow or another. I don't know. So my grandma taught at my school, not me. I was not ever in her class, but my grandma taught at my school for 9 years. I mean, that's a long time. She didn't get paid. It was nothing like that. It was just so I could get free books. And I think that there was some not so positive opinions about that actually in my family. I think some people had took a little bit of issue with that. I'm sure they thought that we were abusing a privilege, maybe using her a little bit. That's not how it was. It's really not how it was. And I always loved that my grandma was at my school. I always loved it. She was only, and here's the other thing. So she did 4 hours a day, and we had 4-day weeks. She did 4 hours a day. She did half days. And so the first half of the day, my grandma would be there. And then the last half of the day, she wasn't there. She went home. But every morning we did opening together. We were always like in the same room. She had her business she was doing, and I had my business that I was doing. But we were always in the same room, having the exact same experience to some degree every single day. And when my school would have their break times, in the morning time, whatever break time I got, I didn't get the same break times as them because I was up or, whatever. But they were all at the same time. So I saw my grandma on my break time. So I saw my grandma every day of my school career for that 9 years. That's pretty unique, right? That's pretty unique. That's pretty cool. So, and in that 9 years, my grandma formed a lot of relationships with the same people that were in my life. Like we had the same people in our lives, and we shared a lot of interests together. We shared a lot of things together because of that. And honestly, way more people liked, loved, and accepted my grandma over me. I was not I was super shy. So I just wasn't like super popular or even really super accepted by everybody necessarily in my school for a long time. But my grandma, everybody loved her. Everybody, I could always tell the way people would talk to each other and then they would talk to my grandma was completely different. They had such a sweet, kindly, loving sound to their voice when they would talk to my grandma. So much respect from the other teachers. She only had a couple minor run-ins in the whole career that she was there, and everybody just loved her. And honestly, that always marked my life. That always marked me, the way that she influenced people just by being herself and being loving to people. That was it. That's all she did. And for years and years, she just would win everybody over. It was just really amazing. Hang on, I gotta go let my dog in. Hold on. Okay, so I was just trying to think. I've been out of school 20 years? Oh no. 20 years, I think. People still seek people from that time still seek my grandma out from my school and come up and approach her, and they are very sweet still, and they ask if she knows who they are. She almost always remembers them. And she said, oh, I saw so-and-so today, and they threw their arms around me and hugged me and asked how I was, and they said it was nice to see me. And that means a world to her, because that time in her life stands out to people. I mean, people really, really appreciate my grandma. They just really do. And really an amazing thing to share. And I always said, I love sharing my grandma with other kids, because I saw it. Like, I saw it. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, everybody loves my grandma. Like, I just saw it. And I'm like, I just love being able to share her with so many kids. It's just the most fun thing ever. So, like a couple more, like I'm going to go morbid again. But so when my grandpa passed away, and it was amazing the people that showed up. A lot of them were there for him, because my grandparents did like a lot of cool stuff when they were younger. I will never be as cool as them, ever. And so a lot of people showed up for them, like from their past. But then even some people showed up like for my mom and I, just out of respect, you know, like a lot of them did. A lot of them showed up for my grandma, but they just did a lot. Like, I need to figure out how to do that much, because they just did, not for that reason, but you know what I mean? Like, they just did so much. Well, I thought, again, back at that time, reflecting on like a time I'm not looking forward to. And I thought, I think I could be wrong, because life goes by, and, you know, years, and then people get in their own world and their own stuff. But just based off of the people that showed up for my grandpa, I thought it is going to be insane when something happens to my grandma, because the mark that she left on so many kids. Like, I thought the amount of people, probably, I could be so wrong on this, but back then I even thought the amount of people that will be at my grandma's funeral that are within like a 10-year age range of me is probably gonna be like insane, just from the students that were in the school that maybe weren't even in her class. But like, I said I went to a one-room school. That's true. It was small, but I will admit it was very high turnover. So there'd be a lot of kids that would come and leave and come and leave. And they've stayed in the community. They've stayed in the area. So I'm like, I bet there's gonna be at least a whole little section of those kids. And that's what I always thought about, because I thought, again, because I got the opportunity to share my grandma and to witness that was so cool. So I decided to homeschool, right? This is what has led me to this video today. This is such a cool experience. My grandma's been saying, well, I want to help. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like, if I can't help, then why am I still here? If I can't help anybody, then why am I still here? And that's truly how she feels in life. Like, I'm here to help people. That's what I'm here to do. And she always talks about wanting to just stop into my house. And there's this weird stigma. My mom talks about like how I don't want people at my house. That is just really not true. That's not true at all. If my mom comes here, it's like I'm trying to get her to stay. And she was like trying to run out the door. But I will say I don't necessarily want my grandma here. And it's nothing to do with not wanting my grandma at my house. It has everything to do with there are so many steps in my house. Just to get inside my house, there are 14 steps. 14 steps just to get in my house. There's another way that you can take, and there's 12 just to get in my house. And what I'm about to talk about, to get up to my daughter's classroom, there's another 13. It's just, there's so many steps. And it's not that she can't do them, but she can't do them easily. It takes her a while, and I know it takes her a lot of effort, and I just don't want to put her through that, right? So I go to her house. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Well, tonight, I talked to her yesterday because I wanted to stop by her house yesterday, and I didn't make it. My kid fell apart at the library. It was a whole thing. It was really, what I'm dealing with is really crazy right now. But anyway, so it didn't work out, but I said, I want to come, I was going to come for dinner tonight. She said, we were talking about it. I said, yeah, I'll come for dinner tomorrow. And I said, I want to bring this curriculum because I'm using the same curriculum that I grew up with. I said, I thought about having you look at it because it's formatted for a 5-day week. And I went to school 4 days a week, and I want to do 4 days a week with my kids. And so I said, I want to talk to you and show it to you and see how you absorb that other day. I mean, I could divide it up or whatever, but I want to see what you did. Oh yeah. She said, I'm sure if I looked at it, it would all come back to me. Yeah, I want to look at it. So tonight I went and I took my teaching materials only. And she just really got into, oh yeah, I did this, didn't do this, or didn't do this. You really wouldn't have to do this stuff if you didn't want. Yeah. Well, I did this. This is how I did this. And we were talking about how to divide up the week and how to double up because I really feel like my daughter has passed kindergarten. Though she has not done kindergarten, I could test her out and just start her in first grade, but I feel like we need to do kindergarten really to establish schooling for us and a routine. But I am going to double up because I feel like it's feasible. And I kind of want to get through kindergarten quickly. So we formatted a plan to where I can get through kindergarten in 18 weeks. And she said, oh, did you bring the books and stuff? And I said, no. And she said, oh, okay. And I said, well, it's not like I live far. I can run home and get the books, like the workbooks, stuff. Well, I don't want to run you out of your way, but I'd really like to see them. So I came home and I got like the rest of all the materials, so that she could see all of it and jog her memory and look at the workbooks and just all that stuff. And she really, really got into it. And I was like, I'm not saying it caused a huge stink in the family, but I am saying that, like, I know some people had opinions about it. And I thought the way she lit up about it, I was like, she really loved teaching. And it was such a calling for her she probably didn't expect. And I kind of know that because I was in her Sunday school class. And just that gift. I don't have that gift. I'm homeschooling. I don't have that gift. I am not my grandma, although in a lot of ways I wish I was. But just really, she lit up and she was like, I know this and that. But she said, if I can help you with this. And I'm like, listen, I would love for you to help me. I am not going to come over here every day because I do want her in the classroom as much as possible. But if maybe once a week you want to help me with some of this lesson stuff. And she seemed to be like really excited about it. Not that I'm being like, here, you homeschool my kid. Here, you do it. Like, no, I'm not trying to do that. Just the same as like my mom was never like, you need to come up here and work so we can get our books for free. It was never like that either. But she was like, excited, I think, for the opportunity to do that. And I'm like, I don't know. I know she feels like if she can't actively be doing something for someone, that she doesn't have a purpose here. But that just could not be farther from the truth. Her presence in our lives are very valuable. I know there's lots of people she speaks to on the daily basis, and she tries to be uplifting to them and like a confidant. I know that she's there for people, and she's there for me even when she just offers to help me with things. Even if I'm like, Grandma, there's no way that you can help me go through all these toys because you're not going to know what to do with the toys. But just her offering and me knowing without a shadow of a doubt that she would drop everything and come do it. I know that. I don't even have to question it. That's such a huge, valuable thing. And the fact that she lit up when she was looking at the teaching materials, I thought that was so fun. I thought that was so cool. And then she was like, I know you probably don't want me to, and you've got a good handle on it, but I would be more than happy to help you. And I'm like, you know, I think that would be great. I think that would be awesome. And I don't feel like it would be putting too much on her. And it's not something I'm going to do regularly, but I think it would be really cool. And how cool would it be if your great grandma was your teacher too? That's pretty special, because they sit down and do things at her house anyway. And my grandma tries to teach her stuff anyway. And she even says, she's like, oh my gosh, she's so much more advanced than some of my students were, which is cool, like toot toot, I guess. But it's just really neat. It's really neat. And like, that's such a great opportunity for my daughter and for my grandma that I think I'm going to take her up on it. So that's my video tonight, just talking about the gift that has been placed in my life. That I would like to keep forever. But one thing that I know is that I've had a really, really big gift that a lot of people don't have. And not only did I get to share the gift that was in my life with like so many other kids, which I thought was so cool. They're not kids anymore. Like, we're all grown people. We're middle-aged. But it's always been so cool to me to share. I just remember even being little and thinking, I love that I get to share my grandma with so many kids. And now I get to share with my kids. Like, that's so cool. I wish everybody knew what they had when they had it. And if my grandma ever feels taken for granted, I mean, I hope not. I hope not. Because I've always been able to watch her in action. And she's like just doing normal stuff. She thinks everything she does doesn't have an impact, but it has a huge impact. We should all be so lucky. Really, we should all be so lucky. So, don't take your family for granted today. They're all really special. I have a lot of really special family. And my grandma's family is really wonderful. They're very special people. And I'm honored to share blood, honestly. So that's my video. Sorry I got a little bit like silly. I felt like I did really good in this video until the end of it. So sorry about that. But this is a video that I felt that I should make. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.